Last week I posted a video about DEI, about diversity, equity, inclusion, and it seems like we need to talk just a little bit more about that. So join me here in a few minutes and we'll dive right in.
Life can be quite the bending road. Sometimes it's nice and gentle, and sometimes it's a bit scary. The truth is that we will all experience a difficult bend in our road at some point. But it's also true that God will see us through. Let's travel this bending road together and help each other in our journey. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to catch other videos along the way.
Hey, welcome back to the Bending Road. Glad you could join me this week. You feel that in the air where we're getting closer to spring, and I'm so looking forward to spring and warmer days, and it's really, the sun is shining more, and it just feels like an exciting time of the year. But last week I posted my random ramblings, and it was all around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how those are biblical concepts, but in the hands of us faulty, broken human beings, sinful human beings, we've kind of done some manipulating of that, and we've made it more harmful than good, I think. And I want to talk a little bit more about that this week. I'm wearing you can't see the whole thing, but I'm wearing my Sunbeams t-shirt. Tonight is our children's program. I'm recording this on a Tuesday. And the shirt says, God made the sun, God made the trees, God made the fishies, and God made me. We read things like that and we think, oh, how cute. It's a childish thing. But I think it really is just that simple. I think it's just that simple. God made you, God made me. Let's all live together in harmony. Oh, there's a good t-shirt. We'll do that. But I was listening to podcasts. I listened to several podcasts throughout the week, and I happened to be listening to the Fox News Rundown podcast. And they were interviewing a Dr. Carol M. Swain, who is the founder of the Real Unity Training Solutions and a former professor at Vanderbilt and Princeton universities. Now, I'm going to do two disclaimers. First of all, I don't know anything more about this woman than what I just told you. That's all I know. So if she said or done other things that are bad, I don't know about that. I just want to convey to you what I heard her talk about on this podcast. And yes, it was on Fox News. If you're not a fan of Fox News, that's fine. So pretend you didn't hear that part, and that's okay. We can gather information from different places. We can gather information from different people, and then it's our job to process that information and see if it resonates with us. So what did I hear? I heard her in an interview, and they were talking about DEI, and they were talking about President Donald Trump's upcoming executive orders and things that he was doing, talking about DEI. And what caught my ear was she was talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And this was the landmark civil rights labor law case that outlaws discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, that sort of thing. This was the original Civil Rights Act. This was the first time that the government came together and said, here's the law. You cannot discriminate in school or at work or in other places. You can't discriminate based on race and color and gender and religion and all of that stuff. You can't do that. So if you have two candidates that let's say they're both equally qualified, you can't just hire the white woman because she's white woman and say, no, I'm not going to have this African-American person in there, or I'm not going to interview anybody who is Catholic, or I'm not going to interview anybody that's not Christian, or I'm not going to interview any men for this or any women. You can't do that. You just can't do that. In my eyes, it was kind of like God made the sun, God made the trees, God made the fishies, and God made me. Really that simple. nobody's excluded from that. In 1961, John F. Kennedy wrote an executive order, and it required government contractors to take affirmative action to ensure that applicants for employment or government contracts had to be treated equally. They can't be one treated better than another for their race, gender, creed, color, etc. So they have to be treated equally. And I found this interesting. It was actually on Wikipedia. It said affirmative action seeks to address systematic discrimination. Historically and intentionally, support for affirmative action has been justified by the idea that it may help with bridging inequalities in employment and pay, increasing access to education, and promoting diversity, social equality, and social inclusion, and redressing alleged wrongs, harms, or hindrances, also called substantive equality. So note in there that this says that it was promoting diversity, social equity, social inclusion. So we couldn't, it called together, Kennedy was trying to call us together and say, look, we need to treat everybody equally. We need to let everybody have a chance. We need to give everybody an opportunity. And then in 1964 became the Civil Rights Act of 1964, where the government, in this landmark case said we're going to get behind this and we're going to outlaw discrimination. It's no longer a suggestion. It's no longer an executive order from the president. This is law. You cannot discriminate against people for these reasons. Unfortunately, things began to shift. I think attitudes began to shift, and I don't think either of those were easy, right? I mean, we had been living in our country, doing it a certain way, and treating people a certain way for a long time, and now all of a sudden we're being told you can't discriminate. So as happens, things begin to evolve, right? So we had the affirmative action by John F. Kennedy. We had the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We're moving along. We're trying to live into this. Probably in many cases not doing real well, but we're working it, right? The country's working it. But all of a sudden it began to be treated as affirmative action means white people, and specifically white men, have an advantage. And therefore, other people need help. Other people need help. And we need to remove the white men out of the way so that those who can't do it on their own can be lifted up, can be raised up and given an opportunity. Well, that's kind of demeaning to the other side. And that, although I think the sentiment was good-hearted, it continued to evolve. Then we get into what we now call DEI and what we call critical race theory, which that takes affirmative action and it ramps it up a notch, and it takes the Civil Rights Act and it ramps that up a notch, and then it turns everything on its head. Because now we set aside certain people of certain races, certain religion. You know, the Christian white man has all the benefits. So we need to get them out of the way. And we need to raise up others. That makes others better than. So, you know, if we felt that the white males, Christian males, were up here, now we've switched places. It's been turned on its head. And DEI and CRT today say that white males, that's my example, white males are now less than. They need to be treated as different. And the question is, why? And the answer, based on DEI and critical race theory, is because it's okay to discriminate against them, because they've had an advantage for a long time. And we need to bring these others up to a higher level. There's this fear, I guess, that says, well, if we reverse DEI, then we're going to have this whole, all our businesses are going to be filled with white men, and it'll result in competent employees being dismissed. But I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true, because we've come a long way since the early 60s. We've come a long way in recognizing the ability of others. And we've come a long way in people of color having education. And so now we have some really smart people of color. We have some really smart women. We have some really smart men. We have some really smart young people, some older people. We have really smart Christians. We have really smart Muslims and Catholics and Protestants and all of these different things. So I don't believe that if we reverse DEI and critical race theory as it has morphed into, that we'll have businesses full of white men. People of color are just as capable, just as able to prove themselves as white men and women. And so they are very capable of moving up in the workforce and filling our businesses with diversity. In Galatians 3:26 through 29, it says, "So in Christ Jesus you are all children of God through faith. For all of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. If you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise." This passage is talking about those who are in Christ Jesus. There's equality. There's diversity. There's equity. There's inclusion. Because once we're in Christ Jesus, the Imago Dei, DEI, the Imago Dei, which means the image of God, is restored in us. And in that restoration, we have diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity means everybody who is in Christ is equal, is there. I mean, there's all sorts of different people who are in Christ Jesus. It also means that we all have the same start and the same end. We are all sinful human beings. We travel through this life. We have a set amount of days, and we will end our days at the feet of Jesus. So the bottom line here is that God made us. God made us to be in community. God made us to love one another. God made us to be family in Him. And we've screwed that up. We have truly screwed that up over time, and we've made laws, and we've civil rights law, and that was good. That was good. And I think the affirmative action executive order was good. But we continue to twist and we made it into something that it just should never have been. It's time we get back to simple. God made us to love one another, and when we love Him and we love one another, we will treat each other well. We will treat each other equally. We will treat each other inclusively. We will offer each other opportunities that maybe the other one doesn't have. But that has to happen organically as a response to the love that God has shown to us. And that's my hope from these couple of videos, that we would see these things in our own lives and just begin to treat each other well. So we don't have to have training in how to do this. We don't have to have diversity training. We don't have to have what I call keep your hands to yourself training, right? How to behave. It should just happen. It should be organic in the lives of Christians. And we should be able to show others how to do this as well. If you have any questions, comments, I would love to hear your comments, other sources, other takes on this. I would love to hear your comments. Go ahead and comment below or reach out to me on my website or on my Facebook page. I would love to hear from you. You have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow along the bending road.
It was great to have you join me today along this bending road. You can connect with me on social media or on my website at bendingroad.weebly.com. I would love to pray for you as you navigate the bends in your road. Remember, when you see the bend in your road, do not be afraid. Take the hand of God and keep walking. You are not alone.